who had been in charge of feeding the thousands of workers who had built the famous Boulder Dam under similar remote conditions. In addition to thousands of tons of food, this guy shipped in 10,000 gallons of water every day. There were also a large number of technical advisors living on location, including Major G.O.T. Bagley, a former officer of a British cavalry unit in India, and Ahmed Abdullah, a Hollywood screenwriter who had served 7 years with the British Army in India. Now, their contributions helped the director, Henry Hathaway, make one of the best, probably one of the most authentic action-adventure films of all time. Nominated for 7 Academy Awards, it was one of Gary Cooper's personal favorites. Here's The Lives of a Bengal Lancer. Did you notice that Akim Tamirov, who played the Emir, had a pretty full beard? I also love the name Akim Tamirov. It seems to go with the beard. Well, anyway, one day they had a break in filming, and he leaned over to light a cigarette, and he had one of these stick matches, you know, those wooden things, and he accidentally set the whole beard on fire. Well, a prop man was smart enough to quickly grab one of those, you know, spray guns, and he put the flames out. But not before Tamirov lost a big chunk of hair out of the beard. Well, the makeup department came to the rescue. They made a duplicate beard, and then they shaved off what was left of the real one. And every day, Akim Tamirov had to come in a little bit early to get the fake one glued on. Lives of a Bengal Lancer was a big hit at the box office. It also impressed the members of the Academy. While it was nominated, though, for 7 Academy Awards, including Best Picture and Best Direction, it won only in the category of Best Assistant Directors. Finally, that magnificent horse Gary Cooper rode was a full-blooded Arabian, the Rolls-Royce of horse breeds. What a fine horse. It was one of the famous Kellogg Arabians. Now this.
Next on American Movie Classics, Victor McLaglen and Boris Karloff battle to survive an enemy attack in John Ford's The Lost Patrol. It's next on American Movie Classics.
Listen, you told me there was money in the fight game. You take me on and I'll make plenty for both of us.
Explore the power and glory of Hollywood's greatest fight films in this made-for-AMC exclusive original program. It's fast and furious as Hollywood's heavyweights De Niro, Stallone, and more go round for round in AMC's exclusive Knockout, Hollywood's love affair with boxing. Thursday.
I don't think I like your brand of hospitality, Mr. Bendix.
Now, wait a minute.
You can push Johnny around if he likes it, but I don't like it, not from you or anybody.
In the desert, tempers burn and passions ignite.
Don't go out there again.
Now, wait a minute, Tom.
I mean what I say, Paul. When you tangle with someone like Bendix, you just don't pick up your jacks afterwards and go home. You get your brains knocked out, kid. You're going to wish you'd never seen me.
Burt Lancaster, Elizabeth Scott, John Hodiak, Mary Astor, Desert Fury. Thursday on AMC.
Mike? Give me a mic.
Thank you. How do you do, ladies and gentlemen? This is Orson Welles. I'm speaking for the Mercury Theater, and what follows is supposed to advertise our first motion picture. Citizen Kane is the title, and we hope it can correctly be called a coming attraction. It's certainly coming to this theater, and I think our Mercury actors make it an attraction. I'd like you to meet them. Speaking of attraction, well, the chorus girls are certainly an attraction, but frankly, ladies and gentlemen, we're just showing you the chorus girls for purposes of ballyhoo. It's pretty nice ballyhoo. But here's some of our real Mercury people. This is the first time you've seen most of them on the screen. Hey, give Joe a little light. Thanks. Now smile for the folks, Joe. Smile. Joseph Cotton, ladies and gentlemen. That's it. Joseph Cotton. I think you're going to see a lot of him. Here's Ruth Warwick, whom I know you love. Ruth. Look at the camera, Ruth. We caught Ruth with her hair up. And here's somebody you've all heard on the radio, so I don't have to tell you he's wonderful, Ray Collins.
Dorothy Commongore is a name I'm going to repeat. Dorothy Commongore. I won't have to repeat it much longer. You'll be repeating it. And here's George Coulouris, who's a grand actor. I'll say that name again. George Coulouris. Watch it. Here comes Everett Sloane. Look out, Everett. Oops. Everett Sloane, ladies and gentlemen, he isn't necessarily a comedian. And here's one of the best actors in the world, Agnes Moorehead. I've said a lot of nice things, but Erskine Sanford deserves some more. Erskine Sanford. So does Paul Stewart, everybody. Citizen Kane is a modern American story about a man called Kane, Charles Foster Kane. I don't know how to tell you about him. There's so many things to say. I'll turn you over instead to the characters in the picture. As you'll see, they feel very strongly on the subject.
Charles Foster Kane is...
Sure, he started the war. But do you think if it hadn't been for Mr. Kane, the United States would have the Panama Canal?
Charles Foster Kane is nothing more or less than a communist. Hey, Governor. Listen, when the voters of this state and Mrs. Kane learn what I found out about Mr. Kane and a certain little blondie named Susan Alexander, he couldn't be elected dog catcher. I'm going to skin Mr. Charles Foster Kane alive.
I'm going to marry him next week at the White House.
Emily, I hear you've been stepping out with Charlie Kane.
Of course I love him. I gave him $60 million.
Well, of course I love him. He's the richest man in America.
That's what all the girls say about him at first.
But you know, I can't help but admire him.
He's crazy.
It's wonderful.
Ladies and gentlemen, I don't know what you'll think about Mr. Kane. I can't imagine. You see, I play the part myself. Well, Kane is a hero and a scoundrel, a no-account and a swell guy, a great lover, a great American citizen, and a dirty dog. It depends on who's talking about him. What's the real truth about Charles Foster Kane? I wish you'd come to this theater when Citizen Kane plays here and decide for yourself.
There's no halo around my head, Mr. Conover, but that's what keeps men like me out of politics.
He's the ideal man.
Spencer Tracy wants to be president.
Don't you want to be president?
Yes, I want to be president.
Well, then let me get you nominated.
How about letting the people get him nominated?
Katharine Hepburn wants their marriage back.
I know he's a big man. You know he's a big man. My bad days are when he knows he's a big man.
Adolph Manjou, Angela Lansbury, and Van Johnson co-star in Frank Capra's State of the Union, premiering Sunday, November 3rd, 8 Eastern on AMC.
You love classic movies? Screen legends like Charlie Chaplin, Audrey Hepburn, Marilyn Monroe, Paul Newman, and Marlene Dietrich, some of your favorites? Well, now you can order a magazine created especially for you. American Movie Classics magazine celebrates the splendor and brilliance of the golden age of Hollywood. It's the only magazine of its kind. Designed and written for the classic movie lover, each monthly issue features captivating profiles of the stars in front of as well as behind the cameras. Every issue has beautiful and seldom-seen photographs, plus entertaining and intriguing stories of Hollywood's most glamorous and renowned stars. Each month, AMC Magazine applauds great American cinemas. A look into those forgotten movie palaces brought back to their original splendor and elegance. Letters to AMC host Bob Dorian, plus American Movie Classics magazine contains a detailed, easy-to-read AMC schedule of all the great movies and original programming you've come to expect from the only all-classic movie channel. To order AMC magazine and save 50% off the cover price, send your check or money order for $11.95 to American Movie Classics magazine, P.O. Box 2065, Marion, Ohio, 43305. Or use your Visa or MasterCard by calling 1-800-535-7700. That's 1-800-535-7700. So if you love classic movies, order the only magazine devoted to the golden age of Hollywood and created exclusively for the classic movie lover, American Movie Classics magazine.
I ain't taking no dolls for security.
You're afraid of my daddy, or you're afraid of me.
Here's a sure bet no one can resist.
Listen, you guys ought to be ashamed of yourself, tossing a kid like that around like a rubber ball.
I like it.
Shirley Temple, Adolph Manjou.
Are you playing a game?
Yeah.
What are you playing?
Sucker.
Damon Runyon's classic tale of the con man and the kid.
I used to be a sissy.
Little Miss Marker. Monday on AMC. technology, helping the contemporary working man. Budgeting his time.
Hey! Quit stalling. Get back to work.
Making him more efficient. Keeping him in the thick of things. Charlie Chaplin writes, directs, and stars in the American movie classic Modern Times. Sunday. You've seen them before, but just who are they? Frankenstein. What do they want?
You must return that scroll to me or die.
And where did they come from? AMC has dug up a creepy collection of the greatest goblins and ghouls of all time. It's a universal monster movie marathon, all day and all night. Thursday, October 31st, only on AMC.
Now, you might say, what's a respectable horror legend like Boris Karloff doing running around in the desert as a religious lunatic? Well, he's playing a character, and Boris Karloff was a fine character actor. Unfortunately, because of his monster image, people tended to overlook his other roles. But he's great in the picture we're about to see called The Lost Patrol, and as the name implies, The Lost Patrol is about a patrol that's lost. John Ford was nothing if not straightforward. The picture features an all-male cast, headed by Victor McLachlan as the British sergeant trying to save his men from unseen snipers. Now, Ford loved placing adventure stories in faraway places, and he did a great job with this one. This takes place during the time of World War I, and it's in the Mesopotamian desert, which is somewhere between the Tigris and the Euphrates rivers, which I think is someplace around Iraq. I won't tell you any more about the plot of this movie, but I will tell you that Wallace Ford and Reginald Denny co-star. Also, you want to be sure to listen to a fine Max Steiner musical score. The screenplay for The Lost Patrol was written kind of in a hurry. When John Ford came aboard to direct, he found that the script was terrible, so he called upon his favorite writer, Dudley Nichols, and the two of them started from scratch. Going back to the original story again by Philip MacDonald. And in 8 days, they had their shooting script, and filming on location only took 2 weeks. Here's The Lost Patrol. You might have guessed that Victor McLachlan would be the only one left. After all, he did get top billing in the movie, and that's probably why. The men with the highest billing usually lived the longest, which makes a lot of sense when you consider it. I mean, the longer they lived, normally the bigger the parts would be. Victor McLachlan or Boris Karloff, as a result, could never have been the first to go, unless they told the whole story in flashback, but that's another day. It's ironic that Victor McLachlan actually did serve in the Mesopotamian desert during the time of World War I, but there's yet another irony here associated with the picture and the actor. The film that we just saw was a remake of a 1929 film by the exact same name. In the leading role, who do you think was there? A fellow by the name of Cyril McLachlan, who was Victor's brother. Those two films were not the only incarnation of The Lost Patrol. RKO did another version in 1939, but changed the locale this time to the American West and the Arabs to Apaches. That one was called Badlands. Now let's look at this.
Next on AMC, Claude Rains plays a tragically obsessed composer whose vengeful and murderous actions terrorize the Paris Opera. Nelson Eddy and Susanna Foster co-star in The Phantom of the Opera. Next on AMC.
The setting, colonial India. The stars, Cary Grant and Douglas Fairbanks Jr. The story, full of comedy.
Hey, take your hands off that man.
Camaraderie.
I'm a soldier. I'm a man first.
And most of all, courage. It's Rudyard Kipling's Gunga Din on American Movie Classics. Thursday. AMC invites you to relive the thrills of the Saturday matinee.
Shazam!
When a 10-cent ticket bought us flying heroes, singing cowboys, and the most evil villains ever. All guaranteed to keep us at the edge of our seats. Celebrate this unique chapter of movie-going history with AMC's exclusive original documentary, The Republic Picture Story, Sunday.
Ready for a classic shoot-'em-up Western?
I'll say that.
A rip-roaring mystery?
Everything's standing now, between you and the law.
And a sizzling shotgun romance all rolled up in one?
Stop or I'll kill you!
Then get ready for The Duke.
Did you want to see me?
John Wayne is tougher than ever and tall in the saddle.
I was hoping you'd think so.
Friday on AMC.
Strike up the band.
Tangerine.
Let AMC take you on a sentimental musical journey with the Jimmy Dorsey Orchestra.
I remember you.
Dorothy Lamour, William Holden, Eddie Bracken, and Betty Hutton in her screen debut. The Fleet's In. Premiering Sunday, November 3rd, 4:30 Eastern on AMC. To help celebrate the year-long tribute to honor the USO's 50th anniversary, AMC proudly presents an exclusive original program, Stars and Stripes. Watch for it this fall, only on AMC.
This is Al Jasbo Collins. Let's swing back with American movie classics. The year 1955. On screen, Ernest Borgnine played an average guy called Marty. And now here's the great Nat King Cole to sing, This Is My Night to Dream.
This is my night to dream. Don't mind how bold I seem. You're just a girl who ought to be kissed, and I'm just a boy, a plain optimist. I've got to make you see you should belong to me. Even the moon is in on my scheme, for this is my night to dream. Oh, by tomorrow you'll be gone, so I'm not waiting till 10 minutes till dawn and being in love with you. Who knows what I might do? Please understand if this sounds extreme, but this is my night to dream. Who knows what I might do? Please understand if this sounds extreme, but this is my night to dream. Oh, this is my night to dream.
For nearly 2 decades, the incomparable style of the big bands dominated the American music scene. Never before had the country been so galvanized by a sound. Big band fever swept the nation and filled the ballrooms, dance halls, and movie theaters with the jumpin', jivin' rhythms of swing.
Oh, black magic has me in a spell.
Pardon me, boy. Is that the Chattanooga choo-choo?
Yes, yes, track 29. Get your kicks on Route 66.
Now, MCA Universal Home Video and AMC celebrate this golden era of popular music with an exquisite 4-volume video collection. Swing, the best of the big bands. Here in one collection, the swing era's most legendary band leaders and musicians are captured in 75 rare original film performances. This eminently collectible, handsomely packaged boxed video set is available now by special offer exclusively for AMC viewers from MCA Universal Home Video for only $69.95, regularly $79.95. To order, send check or money order to Swing Series, 9109 Mason Avenue, Chatsworth, California, 91311. Or to order with credit card, call 1-800-933-2234. Swing, the best of the big bands. A special offer exclusively for AMC viewers from MCA Universal Home Video. The one word uttered by a dying man, and the beginning of one of the most talked about and studied movies ever produced.
I have a hunch. It might turn out to be something pretty important.
Orson Welles' brilliant Citizen Kane.
Don't worry about me. I'm Charles Foster Kane.
The New York Times dubbed it one of the most sensational films ever made in Hollywood. It stands alone as a work of supreme innovation even today.
Really, Charles? People will think...
What I tell them to think.
Winner of the Academy Award for Best Screenplay, it was the triumph of Welles' career.
Oh, it's nice to do exactly this.
American Movie Classics presents Joseph Cotton, Orson Welles.
I didn't know we were speaking.
Sure we're speaking, Jedediah. You're fired.
Agnes Moorehead and Ruth Warwick in an unforgettable motion picture experience. Citizen Kane, Monday on American Movie Classics.
Violent passions brought dynamically to the screen by a cast of brilliant stars. Elizabeth Scott as Paula, a strange, reckless girl whose love defied convention. John Hodiak as Eddie Bendix, who guards his terrible secret like a coiled snake.
A strange combination. You can recognize an automatic clip when you play house like you meant it.
Burt Lancaster as hammer-fisted Tom Hansen.
Don't go out there again.
Now, wait a minute, Tom.
I mean what I say, Paula. When you tangle with someone like Bendix, you just don't pick up your jacks afterwards and go home.
Wendell Corey as Johnny, the third man in Paula's life. Two of them wanted her. He wanted her dead.
Get out of here.
Johnny, let me come in. I've got to talk to Eddie.
He doesn't want to see you. Now get away from here or I'll kill you. So help me, I'll kill you where you stand.
Gypsies look like you and me, but they're not human beings. They couldn't turn those pylons like they do if they had human blood. And they wouldn't dare if they had any human brains. Burn them, and they don't even holler. That's one. It's not even blood they bleed. A strange race of people. Without any blood in their veins at all. Just cranky soil.
Rock Hudson, Robert Stack, Dorothy Malone, and Jack Carson are The Tarnished Angels, based on a novel by William Faulkner. Tuesday on AMC.
Tell me.
Don't you?
Don't what?
I don't want to die.
Neither do I, baby, but if I have to, I'm going to die last.
Film noir, obviously, is a French phrase, but it refers to a very specific genre of American films. These were very dark, doom-laden films that came into being in the post-war years. Out of the Past is set in motion by the fact that Jane Greer steals $40,000 from mobster Kirk Douglas. Douglas hires a private eye, Robert Mitchum, to find Jane Greer and the money. He goes down to Mexico. He does find her, but what he hadn't anticipated was that he falls in love with her, and that's what starts the plot complications.
I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know anything except how much I hated. But I didn't take anything. I didn't, Jen. Don't you believe?
Baby, I don't care.
Jane Greer obviously is quite a femme fatale in Out of the Past, and she's very much in the classic vein of film noir women. Women in film noir are almost always bad news. Usually in film noir, something bad happens to a man, and very often a woman is the instrument of his downfall. Certainly this is the case here.
You didn't have to kill him.
You wouldn't have killed him.
This is one of Robert Mitchum's first prominent roles. And in it, you'll see a lot of the trademarks that one later associated with Mitchum. The very sleepy look, you know, these heavily hooded eyes. The sort of almost passive manner. Mitchum is a very laid-back guy. He's wary. He's not going to commit himself before he has to. There's carefulness in him, although he allowed himself to get impetuous over Jane Greer and led a very complicated life as a result of that.
Someone has to take the blame. If nothing on me, but I'd make a fine witness for the prosecution. Don't you see you've only me to make deals with now?
I'll build my gallows high, baby.
That's the essence of film noirs, men being caught up in tides that they cannot control, really being helpless despite their toughness or cleverness or resourcefulness, and just being swept to bad ends. The unusual thing about Out of the Past is its physical setting. Most film noirs are set in cities. Most film noirs are set in the dark. There's a lot more daylight in Out of the Past than in most film noirs, and there's also a lot more outdoors. But it's worth noting that these sunlit locales are presented in a tantalizing way. They represent ideals that the characters are only fleetingly allowed to inhabit. So although you don't see quite as many dark, mean streets as you do in a lot of film noirs, it's quite clear that the characters are always being yanked back to what those dark streets represent. The thing that makes Out of the Past a classic is that it lives up to its title. It almost approaches Greek tragedy in its patterns of faithfulness. All of these characters engineer their own fate. They set the forces in motion that turns into their past, and it's the past, of course, that comes back to haunt them and eventually gets them. For American Movie Classics, this is Jay Carr.
Academy Award winner, Best Picture.
Pour it softly, pour it gently, and pour it to the brim.
Academy Award winner, Best Actor.
It shrinks my liver, doesn't it? It pickles my kidneys, yeah. But what does it do to my mind?
Academy Award winner, Best Director.
Now, if you know what's good for you, you'll turn around and walk out again, and walk fast, and don't turn back.
Academy Award winner, Best Screenplay.
I've got to know what's around, but I can have it if I need it. I can't be cut off completely.
We're both trying. You're trying not to drink, and I'm trying not to love you.
Ray Milland.
Most men lead lives of quiet desperation. I can't take quiet desperation.
Jane Wyman.
He's a sick person. It's as though there was something wrong with his heart or his lungs. You wouldn't walk out on him if he had an attack. He needs our help.
Billy Wilder's powerful drama of one man's alcoholic nightmare, The Lost Weekend. Premiering Sunday, November 17th, 9 p.m. Eastern on AMC. They share a tormented past and an uncertain future.
But we had other plans. Plans about the present, about your future.
Maybe I have to make my own plans about the future, Ma.
For three war heroes, life will never be the same.
Well, now we're civilians again. Rugged individuals. Nobody to tell us what to do or when to do it.
Robert Mitchum and Guy Madison star in a powerful story of camaraderie which lasts till the end of time. Saturday on AMC.
You love classic movies. Screen legends like Charlie Chaplin, Audrey Hepburn, Marilyn Monroe, Paul Newman, and Marlene Dietrich, some of your favorites? Well, now you can order a magazine created especially for you. American Movie Classics magazine celebrates the splendor and brilliance of the golden age of Hollywood. It's the only magazine of its kind. Designed and written for the classic movie lover, each monthly issue features captivating profiles of the stars in front of as well as behind the cameras. Every issue has beautiful and seldom-seen photographs, plus entertaining and intriguing stories of Hollywood's most glamorous and renowned stars. Each month, AMC Magazine applauds great American cinemas. A look into those forgotten movie palaces brought back to their original splendor and elegance. Letters to AMC host Bob Dorian, plus American Movie Classics magazine contains a detailed, easy-to-read AMC schedule of all the great movies and original programming you've come to expect from the only all-classic movie channel. To order AMC magazine and save 50% off the cover price, send your check or money order for $11.95 to American Movie Classics Magazine, P.O. Box 2065, Marion, Ohio, 43305. Or use your Visa or MasterCard by calling 1-800-535-7700. That's 1-800-535-7700. So if you love classic movies, order the only magazine devoted to the golden age of Hollywood and created exclusively for the classic movie lover, American Movie Classics Magazine.
Of all the aristocrats in ancient Florence, one name rang clear.
Benvenuto Cellini.
So you are Cellini.
Cellini did it. Cellini again? What's he done now?
Poet, fighter, and lover.
You know that I'm mad about your hair, your eyes. You know that I'm jealous of nature and not I created you.
Where are you going to find another Cellini? Another master?
Fay Ray and Frederick March star in Gregory Le Cava's Affairs of Cellini. Sunday on AMC.
He's bound to find out the moment she opens her mouth. You can't possibly palm her off as a lady.
They said it couldn't be done.
I ain't met anyone like you before. You're a proper gent, you are.
A common girl successfully schooled to become royalty.
You've been fortunate enough to be admired by the Duke of Marlminster.
Daffodils are blooming. Aren't they?
Ray Milland and Paulette Goddard star in the rags to riches tale of Kitty. Premiering Sunday, October 20th at 7 p.m. only on AMC.
Shirley Temple's birthday, and Will Rogers makes a speech.
We gathered here today to unveil a picture of you here. Now, I'm not going to make a speech, because I'm so long-winded. I make speeches for everywhere for no reason whatever. And you are the biggest entertainer in the world today. And you have arrived at that position by not making speeches.
So a painting of Shirley is unveiled in the Fox Studio dining room in Hollywood. The celebrated star is 6, has a party, and makes a speech.
I want to thank you very much. I think it's very nice to have a big party like this.
Frosty ice cream and sugary cake make a happy birthday.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Shirley. Happy birthday to you.
People are calling Shirley by the title of her next picture, Our Little Girl. 6 candles are a lot for a famous actress to blow out. We used to have America's sweetheart. Now we have Our Little Girl.
You're watching American Movie Classics.
I ain't taking no dolls for security.
You're afraid of my daddy, or you're afraid of me.
Here's a sure bet no one can resist.
Listen, you guys ought to be ashamed of yourself, tossing a kid like that around like a rubber ball.
I like it.
Shirley Temple, Adolph Monchu,
Are you playing the game?
Yeah.
What are you playing?
Sucker.
Damon Runyon's classic tale of the con man and the kid.
I used to be a sissy.
Little Miss Marker. Monday on AMC.
What a world-astounding collaboration we should be, you and I, together. Alone, you have created a man. Now, together, we will create his mate.
Boris Karloff returns.
Woman. Friend. Yes. I want friend.
Elsa Lanchester co-stars in an AMC exclusive Bride of Frankenstein. Friday.
wanted in entertainment in one superb show. Here is matchless story, suspenseful, terrifying, never so thrillingly presented. Here in breathtaking Technicolor is superb spectacle and splendor and romance. Here is a chorus of 100 voices, a ballet of 100 dancers, a cast of 1,000, starring Nelson Eddy in his most vigorous performance, lovely Susanna Foster, and Claude Rains in the most coveted role of the year as the Phantom of the Opera.
My music! You've stolen it! You've stolen my music!
Next on AMC, Claude Rains plays a tragically obsessed composer whose vengeful and murderous actions terrorize the Paris Opera. Nelson Eddy and Susanna Foster co-star in The Phantom of the Opera. Next on AMC.
While working on The Phantom of the Opera, Universal Studios wardrobe man, Robert Martine, made a remarkable discovery. He was checking out a costume that had been assigned to a musician in the cast, and he was so surprised when he saw what he saw that he let out a yell. The crew gathered around him, and they were amazed, too. On the inside lining of this satin waistcoat was stamped the name Lon Chaney. Chaney had worn the same coat nearly 20 years earlier when he started in the silent version of the same story. Now, just by accident, the costume was assigned to an actor in the remake. Speaking of the costumes, while you're watching, you want to pay attention to the vast number of costumes and costume pieces that were used in this film. See if you can guess how many they actually did use. I'll give you a hint. It's a 5-digit number, 5 digits. But it wasn't the costumes that actor Claude Rains was worried about. He was much more concerned about the quality of his makeup. He worked with makeup artist Jack Pierce, who truly deserved the title makeup artist. Pierce was the man who created all Universal's wonderful, monstrous-looking people, Frankenstein, the Wolfman, Dracula, and the Mummy among them. He and Claude Rains decided that the Phantom's makeup should not be a copy of Lon Chaney's famous face from the silent version. And as a result, only a portion of Claude Rains' face was disfigured. This is a beautiful film, which won Academy Awards for its shimmering color photography and exquisite interior decoration. Here's The Phantom of the Opera.